So, we have just had the entire Resident Evil Chapter 2 Project W. It has just been leaked. Everything that we need to know about the upcoming chapter, we now know, besides a couple of small things I think that we're not too sure of yet. But today, we're going to quickly go through everything that has just been leaked and to find out what we can expect when it comes to this new chapter. So, if you don't want to know anything about the new chapter, the new Resident Evil chapter, then I would suggest highly not watching this, because we are about to properly get into it and find out everything from the killer's power, the killer's perks, the survivors, the add-ons, the full lot. Everything has been leaked more or less, so if you do not want to know, I would click off this video for now. So, without further ado, let's just start with what the characters and the perks look like. So, this has been leaked, which shows all three kind of body, outfit, weapon, and head, body, trousers for the survivors. And of course it was leaked a little while ago that the survivors were going to be Rebecca Chambers and were going to be Ada Wong. That seems to be the absolute case here, as well as the killer being Albert Wesker. I think they look great, and I think honestly, just because of how realistic these look, I can take everything that is coming forward probably is going to be accurate. These look absolutely correct in game, and I think they look quite cool. But also, for some bizarre reason, we have also been gifted with what they look like at P3. We already know what their entire bloody cosmetics look like, and this just confirms it to me that this is absolutely legit, because these look fantastic. And we also get to find out what all of the perks are called. For Albert Wesker, we've got Terminus, Awakened Awareness, and Superior Anatomy. For Rebecca Chambers, we've got Reassurance, Better Than New, Hyper Focus. And for Ada Wong, we have Reactive Healing, Low Profile, and Wiretap. Now, the only perks that we actually know what do are Wesker's. We don't know what the survivor perks are going to do right now, because apparently they are still a little bit subject to change. But we do have the confirmed 3 perks for Albert Wesker. And let's get straight into that. So, we have the entire biography for what is now known as the Mastermind, which I think is an absolutely perfect name for him. I think that's the only thing that you could have really called him. But I'm not going to read all of this out word for word. If you'd like to, you can pause it and read it yourself. But his personal perks, of course, Superior Anatomy, Awakened Awareness, and Terminus. So, Superior Anatomy: when a survivor performs a fast vault within 8 meters of you, the perk will activate. Your normal vault speed will increase by up to 40% for 3 seconds, and the perk will deactivate after you vault a window. This one honestly doesn't fill me with too much of anything. I think it could be good very circumstantially in a chase, but I don't really see the point of needing to run this. It might be better than I think, it might be much better in its actual application, but this one doesn't scream to me that this is going to be a really valuable perk. The next is Awakened Awareness. When carrying a survivor, you can see the aura of other survivors within 20 meters of your position. Auras revealed will stay visible for 2 seconds after you stop carrying the survivor. I think this is kind of just like another meme perk. You're going to run this when you're doing your Mad Grip build with your Agitation and Starstruck and all that kind of stuff. I feel like it would have some value with that, but on its own, maybe it might stop saboteurs, it might stop people destroying the hook if you know that they're close, or it'll allow you to pick somebody up, drop them, and potentially start a new chase if you want to do it like that. So this might be really good on the twins. Not too sure. Again, doesn't fill me with confidence, but I do feel like this would be good when paired with the other meme kind of carrying builds. And finally, we have Terminus. When exit gates are powered, the perk will activate. Injured, downed, and hooked survivors are inflicted with the broken status effect until the exit gates are open. When the exit gates are open, they will stay broken for up to an additional 30 seconds. Again, not another bad endgame perk, but it just doesn't fill me with this is going to be really strong and really useful in most games. I don't see too much of the point, but it may have some uses depending on what killer you play, what map you're on, and how you effectively use it. So again, I'm not mad at the perks, I just don't think they're going to be doing too much to really change the game, but I may be wrong. So in my last video, I said that it was confirmed and leaked that survivors could use something called an infection remover, and this turns out to be the first aid sprays, which makes complete sense to me. So what this does is it basically completely removes an Ouroboros infection. Now, I wondered if that was the infection that they were going to use. Obviously, Albert Wesker's thing is the Ouroboros virus. That's what he's kind of self-inflicted with at the end of Resident Evil 5, but I didn't know if that's exactly what they were going to be going for. But the Mastermind's power is Virulent Bound, I believe you call that. The Mastermind can barrel forwards, infecting survivors with the Ouroboros virus or leaping over obstacles. Press and hold the power button to charge a bound attack. Whilst charging, the Mastermind moves slightly slower as he prepares his strike. When charged, press the attack button to bound. If the Mastermind hits a survivor, that survivor will become infected or furthers their infection. Should the Mastermind crash into something during this bound, he will slam the survivor, causing damage. If not, the survivor is thrown, losing a health state if they are thrown into any solid object. If Virulent Bound hits a drop pallet or vault location, the Mastermind vaults over the obstacle. Honestly, was not expecting this, and this sounds so much fun, of just being able to yeet survivors into walls and stuff. That sounds so cool. It doesn't sound too bad. It kind of sounds like a mix between Demogorgon and Legion a little bit. Demogorgon, of course, he has the pounce attack, the shred that covers large distances. I imagine that's very much the case. And Legion, obviously, being able to vault over pallets quickly. I think it might just sound like the perfect version of that with the extra thrown thing in additional. But I think people are going to be obsessed with throwing survivors into walls. And it means that survivors will have to be very careful how they handle tiles. Because if you have a small tile like a TNL wall or the inside of Shack, and you get to catch and throw them, it's more or less guaranteed that they will be thrown into a wall. So if this is true, we're going to have to see how this really is effectively used, because this could be really strong. He also has a special effect called the Ouroboros Infection. Upon being hit by Virulent Bound, survivors will become infected. Whilst infected, the survivor suffers from the Hindered status effect, and the infection builds up over time. When fully infected, the effect becomes even more pronounced, and if Virulent Bound hits a survivor when they are fully infected, the Mastermind will, instead of throwing them, automatically pick them up and carry them, which I think is great. It's a bit weird because I wonder how the infection will compare to like Nemesis's infection rate and like maybe even Onryo's condemned rate, to a bit of a stretch maybe. It is going to be really interesting to see how quick survivors can gain these infections, how effective the first aid spray is at removing that, and how much that's actually going to be happening where survivors will get to the stage of fully infected. Because I feel like a lot of times when it comes to states where you have to rise like this, sometimes it's actually really tricky to get survivors to full infection. But we will have to see. Again, not mad at this at all. And exactly like the Nemesis, survivors will be able to interact with first aid sprays at the beginning of each trial. Supply crates will spawn containing the first aid sprays. When infected, a survivor can use them on themselves or another, removing the infection, and each spray has a set number of charges, which completely makes sense. It's exactly like the Nemesis. Get rid of the infection, but it sounds like you'll be able to use it more than once before it automatically kind of disappears. Now, as I said, we don't know the specifics of what the teachable perks do for Ada Wong and Rebecca Chambers. We only have the names, but the bio for the names, like when you read them when buying the chapter. Ada Wong, her personal perks, wiretap, reactive healing, and low profile, allow her to spy on a killer, gain a surge of healing when her allies are hurt, and leave no trace when the final survivor. And with Rebecca Chambers, her personal perks, better than you, reassurance, and hyper focus allow her to give teammates speed boosts, give temporary leave to struggling allies, and complete skill checks at increased speeds. So we're just going to have to find out exactly and specifically what those entail. Next up, we do also have some leaked audio from Wesker. We have a couple of noises that I believe that when he is stunned by a pallet, but we also have his chase music, and then another one called his transformed chase music, which I'll just play now for you. Now, they sound fantastic, absolutely in keeping with the Resident Evil kind of feel, if you get what I mean. Very orchestral, very dramatic, something that I very much like. But apparently it's also leaked, even though we don't have audio for it, that he has dialogue for hooking survivors, downing survivors, survivor grabs, survivors escaping, locker grabs, dashing, Mori, and generic laughing. Now, I'm wondering if, to be fair, I'm not wondering, he has to have dialogue with Chris. If he pulls Chris out of a locker, he better scream, "Chris!" like he does. I'm obviously not going to do it because you get my point. So we also do have a bunch of dialogue that we can look forward to as well. And finally, from the leaks, we have all of his add-ons. Now, I'm not going to cover all of these add-ons because that would just take far too much time, and I feel like I've already done your heads in a little bit. But I will say that in a summary, most of them are kind of increase the infection rate, of course. He also has some that kind of increase how long it takes to use first aid sprays, ones that give extra status effects on infections. The first that I feel like I'm really going to use the most is the Lion's Medallion, which increases the distance at which survivors are thrown by 30%, just because you'll be able to yeet them that much further. I feel like that's going to be really fun. But to be fair, they all are pretty generic, but these are his two iridescent ones. First, we have the Lab Photo, which destroys pallets and breakable walls when colliding with them using Violent Bound, but removes the ability to vault them, which sounds absolutely fine. It sounds like kind of Blight's iridescent tag, I believe it is, or Compound 32 or whatever one it is, where instead of having to attack the pallet, you just run into it and dash into it to break it. I feel like that's just that. And we have the iridescent Ouroboros vial, which survivors start the trial infected with Ouroboros, and survivors suffer from the exposed status effect for 30 seconds when reaching maximum infection. So this sounds like it'll just be a good alternative, so you don't have to kind of use your attack, your pounce, Violent Bound to really put him on your shoulder. You can just down him and do it like that. Again, not too sure, we don't know how his power works specifically, but all we know is that all of these. So feel free to pause these as well, and if you want to read them all and have a proper good look. But I would say they're all fairly generic, nothing too crazy. And as far as leaks go, that is it, guys, I believe. I don't think we have anything else right now, but the Resident Evil chapter is not too far away right now, so I don't reckon we're going to be waiting long for gameplay and more info. Let me know what you think. Are you happy with the sounds of this? Do you want Wesker to do something else? I'm quite hopeful. I think this sounds pretty fun. I think that they've done alright, so we're just going to have to see how it works. And yes, once again, let me know in the comments down below. I really would appreciate it. I love reading your guys' comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye for now.